me to even like know where to start, because I have so many different types of ideas, so many different looks that I try to go for, and different styles, that it is hard to like kind of settle down and decide like where you want to take it. But I will say, I think the biggest thing right now is what you said about budget. Is people will come to me and they'll go on my website and they'll show me the most expensive video I did, and they'll be like, I want something like this, but they have not even like a quarter of the budget. And if I'm putting something out there, it's gonna be my heart and soul, you know. I'm not gonna get on a project and it's just I'm doing it for the money. Like that video that we shot a couple weeks ago, that was one of the lowest budget videos I've done in a while, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that because the song was beautiful, and I was like, I need to give this artist something that represents me, because I'm not gonna just agree to a video and a budget and then just do it for money, and then that shows in the outcome. Your ideas aren't fully there. You can tell when someone actually put something and put effort and put love into the project. But it does get complicated because there's all these huge, crazy ideas you want to do. And as time goes on, like, and you're working on these bigger sets and with these label videos, and then you kind of go back and you work with these smaller budgets, it's frustrating because you want to do all these things and you physically can't, because you don't want to drive yourself crazy. Like that's one thing, you can't burn yourself out trying to make things work for an artist that doesn't have the money for it yet, which is fine because people are just starting. But they need to also understand like what they're going to get out of that video, because again, like they will expect this insane budgeted video for such a small amount, and I do what I can, but it gets frustrating because people don't realize what goes into a production and how much the simplest video can cost. Like people will show you like a Tyga video or like a video that when you look at it, it looks like it was a cheap video to shoot, but they don't see all the people they had to hire and all the models they had to pay.
And then cheap be like $10,000.
Yeah,
literally.
But that's like surface. Like people will show, like I've had someone show me like a video I estimated probably like a $50,000 video, at least maybe $100,000, but they thought it was like a $5,000-$10,000 video. But there's so much, even though, like getting a grip crew to light up a video like that alone could be some of these people's budgets. The location alone could be your entire budget.
Yeah, for me it's been time, like just like trying to master it, trying to get, you know, everyone to be on the call sheet and active on the call sheet.
Yeah, and
so, that's like it.
I think that's one of my issues. So like to me, I've come to realize as I've been doing it more, I'm like, I'm a director. You know what I mean? Like
you need a producer.
When it comes, I know.
Huh. Tell him I wonder.
So, but here's the thing: is like I said before, like I want to make sure I want to pay you out, but I'm still, it's like that in between with the budgets where I'm like,
I hear you.
Yo, every video I get, I'm like, yo, I want to call Brita.
It gets, I mean, you know, I'm always here. I just like to create, like the money is just like comes, it's whatever. But that's like a frustrating thing too when these budgets are smaller, because you're doing the producer's job and the director's job, and those are two
and
complete,
the set design and
you're doing
everything.
And these are two complete separate sides. Like the director needs to be focusing on the physical aspect of it and the cinematography to it, while the producer needs to be handling all the little work and the locations and the call sheets and coordinating with models. And then you're on set trying to shoot the video and the models are texting you, how do I get here? What's like this and that? And you are trying to do that. So it's frustrating.
That's one of the craziest things we brought up Nimi earlier. Gang. Is this a Instagram story?
A little side video.
So once again, shouts out to Nimi. But yo, what he does to me is like, it's mind bending. He will literally direct, like we have a whole team of interns that we have, and it's a great community, and it started a lot of film careers. But he does so much really on his own that I don't understand how he does it. Because
madman shit.
Yo, he's a fucking mad scientist. Nimi, you're a mad scientist, bro. I don't understand you. Like I'm doing it on a smaller level than he is, and I'm like, yo, I'm just like, I'm just a higher producer. Like when I'm getting those budgets, I don't want that fucking stressful headache. Like the video me and Bree, we just worked on together with a client of mine, A Money. The video is going to be super dope. But that one, it wasn't a crazy budget, but I had a little bit of money to play with.
Right.
And that video is going to be fucking a really big portfolio piece for me. But it looks like a much higher budget level video. And that's also because I was able to bring on at least a little bit of a team. Like Bree casted it and like / produced it. Then I had my boy Shaka, Dave, Ish, and a couple other people
Oh,
on
that
the
was the
set.
shoot with the nice spotlight.
Yeah, with the spotlight.
Oh, yeah,
that one
that's
was
amazing.
The
bro.
videos are literally it's a freak show meets fraud, and I love it.
So how did you get, you know, the glass and the items?
So that's where I was losing my mind, partly on like the producer end, because so I sent him originally. I got the concept from the Future Mask Off video. Like, I want to shoot some shit like that. Like, Colin Tilley directed that, and he's an insane director. So I got the concept from there, and then the song is called Duet, and that's another like slang word for like game and scamming and shit like that. So I wanted to originally put the girls in, like, have it start off as a freak show, and like the girls are in these like life-size Barbie doll glass cases, and there's like snakes around them, and they got all sorts of dominatrix outfits, and it just looks fucking freaky. And then I go to Home Depot, and I'm like, how much is it gonna cost me to make a lifestyle? Yeah, like
glass box.
And in my head, I'm like, yo, these pieces of plastic can't be too expensive. You know what I mean?
Plexiglass?
I'm like, yeah, I was like, I could get acrylic. Like, so I ended up reaching out to another dude that I've worked with before, and he was like, yo, I got a fucking plexiglass plug. Hooked me up with his plexiglass plug. Ended up getting the plexiglass, and now I'm like, all right, well, I need to structure this so it looks like a life-size showcase. I went to Home Depot again, and the stands. So like everyone, you guys at home know what the fuck it is. It's like those little plastic stands that are all in restaurants because of COVID now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had those. So I'm like, I guess this is gonna work. Like, I don't know how else I'm gonna do this. And typically, if you have a bigger budget, you have a set design crew that's just gonna put it all together and build it, and I don't gotta worry about it, and I go focus on the concept and do what I gotta do. But now I'm sitting here, I ended up finessing. So I got the plexiglass from an actual like wholesale place for like $500 for, I think it was 8 pieces, and then the stands were literally $100 for like a pair of stands.
Wow.
So I ended up dropping like almost $2,000 just on the plexiglass alone. I swear to God.
Some expensive glass.
Yo, it was insane. I was losing. I'm like, how is this fucking possible? So ended up not even being able to structure the glass as I wanted it to. I had to like.
Oh, that's why we just.
Because so the stands were literally like stands with wheels. So you couldn't connect all 4 pieces around each other. It was just a piece of plexiglass with a stand on it. So now we're like, it's coming up to shoot that scene, and I'm like, well, this kind of fucking throws the concept off. So we had to like make do on set, and we laid it out so it was like almost like a reverse flying V, and we had the lights all set. Like, it was cool.
It looks sick.
Yeah, like it came out super dope, but it's like when you think of production aspect of it for like from our end, we're like, yo, that shit was fucking.
That's the frustrating point, because again, it's if you had the budget, you want to make it look like in your head you saw something completely different. So at the same time, I'm sure you're a little hard on yourself because you're like, this doesn't look like what I expected it to look like. But I think that's a big part of doing this is, like you were saying, every time you shoot something, you learn something you need the next time, and it's just kind of, they're all mental notes at the end of the day that you take for each shoot. I
don't think we're ever gonna, until we get those like 100, and even when we get like $100,000, $150,000 budgets, can be like, I still could have done something a little bit crazier than that. But like overall, the video came out super dope. I'm really happy with it, and everyone was great on set. But
I saw you with the women. They were looking like they were up to no
freaky,
good.
Man.
Bro. They got whips
thanks
and
to
shit.
Castings,
yo, shouts out to Sister Casting. She brought all the freaks out. Shouts out to you.
So what about you, Bree? What seems to be a challenge for you when it comes to producing or casting different models, different actors, different?
So I think
talent?
One thing that I've learned with casting over time is you kind of have to, now I'm pretty good at it, but you can really tell who's doing it because they want to be doing it and this is their passion and they're trying to make a career off of it. And you learn the difference between the people that are doing it just because it seems fun. And at first it was really hard because, when the clients were smaller, the budgets were smaller, thank God now with casting, I kind of reached a certain level with like the clientele that I have. But at first it was like really frustrating because obviously you can't bring out the top dogs for $100, $150. So then I was hiring these models that were just starting and, testing the waters. And I ran into so many complications with like the set day would come and the model would stop answering, or the set day would come and they wouldn't show up. They would cancel last minute. they would get into a car crash. Their grandma fell off the top of a building. Like,
a lot of car
I don't know.
crashes
Like,
in
I've
New
heard,
Jersey.
I could write you a book on the excuses I've gotten with castings. So I think that's one thing that was really hard for me at first, is just kind of like telling now by people's Instagrams and just even how they submit, the way they speak, things like that. You can really tell someone's like professionalism and where they are. So that was one thing that was definitely a struggle at first with casting, was kind of like weaning out who was actually serious about their craft and who was just doing it for fun. And I definitely still run into complications now, but it definitely has gotten a little bit easier over time. I would say one thing with producing, honestly, I love producing because I love organizing things and putting things together.
God.
I love
Thank
it.
God
like,
for you,
like making call sheets and like shot lists, like even though that's like an AD's job, like it's just so good. Like I love putting things together.
You could be an AD too.
Yeah, well, actually, so for film, I haven't directed any film yet, but for short films, I've AD'd a few short films, and I'm actually producing a short film in 2 weeks, which is like really exciting. We're my best friend wrote it. It's based around like 80s ballroom culture and like voguing and stuff. So that's definitely been a lot producing that, because we're coordinating a lot. Obviously, it's a 3-day shoot. It's like a 14-page script. We have like 50 something extras coming for the scene. So I'm producing it and casting it. And it's just like a lot. But I don't know. I feel like when the vision is there, and again, like the money comes, but when it's something that you guys put together and you're passionate about it, like, I don't know. I feel like all the little like annoying things don't even really matter. Like it doesn't really sit on my head, because I'm thinking about how cool it's going to turn out at the end.
That's a good way to look at it.
And it's stuff that, I don't know, when you have a job, like a regular 9 to 5, wherever you're working, you're going to run into the annoying customer, the annoying client, your boss saying this or whatever the case is. You have to know that with whatever you do, like even though we're running our own businesses and we're working for ourselves, bullshit is still going to happen. Like it's inevitable.
Pick your annoyance.
Yeah.
Speaking of bullshit and annoyance and craziness, I wanted to bring up, like, what are some of the most unexpected, random, crazy moments in our line of work?
I have a handful of those. I'm trying to think. There's so many. It's like on an everyday basis. Where it's
my God, I have a funny one.
Go for it.
This was sometimes like when directors come to me to cast for their videos, they need to explain to me what the model's doing, because I want to send them girls that are obviously comfortable doing with whatever they want. I don't want to put anyone in an uncomfortable situation. So one time this director came to me and he's like, I want freaky girls. So in my head, I'm thinking freaky. I'm like, okay, girls that are going to, shake their ass and, be all over the artist, blah, blah, blah. So I send this one girl who I knew like would, do it. And then I sent another girl who I didn't know how crazy she would act, but she looked good. She had a great body. So I was like, I'm sure she'll move around on camera. So I send them there, and she texts me that they're going in like this basement of a church. And I was like, okay. And usually like when religion or anything in that point is implemented in the video, you need to tell me, because I don't know if people are really religious, if it's against their, like, you know what I'm saying? If it's a religious thing. She calls me and I'm at another shoot, and she says that the director wants them. There's a dead pig hanging, the dead pig hanging in the bottom of a church. And they wanted them to like stab and like stab the pig. And I did not know by freaky.
That's what
he meant demonic. Like he did not mean freaky, like ass shaking. He meant freaky demonic. And that put me in such a like weird situation. Cause I was like, the one girl was down for it. She's like, yeah, I need new types of things for my Instagram. So I was like, stab that pig, whatever.
So what about you, V?
We doing funny stories. We doing headaches. What do we?
I mean,
let's do this. We'll do the most recent story I got.
Go ahead.
So I just flew out to Vegas to do a video shoot. And the client that I was with, me and him we're friends. Like I knew him before he was making music. So normally if I'm being flown out to go shoot a video, wherever it is, like, I need a stay accommodated, travel, everything. I'm not staying with you and your family. Like that's not happening. With him is an exception, because like me and him, we have an actual personal relationship. Love the kid to death. His family is great, but it was like a sitcom I walked into. I swear to God, you couldn't make this up. So we get there, and first thing, like, so he's got his family. He's got his old grandma, who's like this just super old kind of like racist white lady. She's like bedridden, disabled. Like she's literally just in her bed. Walk in, the first thing she's like, is he black or Spanish? Before she even sees me, she has no idea.
She heard Joe Viso and was like, what's that? What's that about?
Right? So that was the first thing she says to him, right? And then walk in, meet his aunts. His aunts are lovely, lovely ladies, but they're like little, like more like rough around the edges. They mean well, but they have like a rugged sense of humor. First thing she says to me, she's like, what is this weird kid doing here? You know? And like, I don't like, my uncles are like that, so like I get it. I was like, we're batting 100 right now, right? And so like I said, you have his kind of like the racist old grandma, and then his aunts are lesbians, and her fiance is this Mexican chick.
Sounds
so you
like
have
a fun house.
So you have that
with the racist grandma.
With the racist grandma downstairs, but it gets better. And then his cousins, who are super cool, like they showed us around Vegas and took us to different locations for the set. his cousins they're porn stars.
Oh, you were briefly telling me about this before you went.
So now like we're building up the house a little more by more. You got the racist grandma, you got the lesbian aunt couples, and then you got the porn star cousins. And it was the cousin's boyfriend's dinner. So I got roped into the family birthday dinner later on that night. And now we're sitting at the table, and now everyone's at the table. You got his aunts, you got the grandma, you got his cousins over here, and then you have his uncle who comes, and his uncle happens to be a pastor.
So the porn star, the pastor, the racist grandma, the lesbian,
and then the lesbian couple's Polish friend, who like she was like off the boat, but she was a sweetheart. Like she was cool as hell. She's sitting there telling us how we should do DMT, and like so she's telling us on DMT, and then his aunt, who's never done a drug in her life, is like, yeah, I'm ready to do some DMT. We doing DMT tonight?
DMT, dimethyltryptamine. And then I'm probably chopping it up. That's serious stuff.
I was ready to do it.
That's not the initial.
She sold me on it. I was ready to go do it. So, but then it gets a little funnier. At the end of the dinner, the uncle, he's a pastor, and he bought the cousin a bag of weed for his birthday. So like that was just like the situation
icing on the cake.
Yeah, like just the situation of being at that dinner table with like.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that would make a really good sitcom.
That's
like a show. Yeah.
Sounds like a show.
If you briefly introduced all of those characters in an episode, like I think you could put something together.
I swear to God, I felt like I was in a sitcom. I'm like, this can't be real life right now. There's no way.
You should start scripting that. I like that.
Right. So that was like a week and a half ago. And that's just like, I feel like I come encounter with like weird situations like this on the regular.
Yeah, you meet a lot of.
In this field, you meet
people,
interesting people.
I don't want to say weird. Interesting's a good.
Interesting, because I mean we're all weirdos.
Characters.
But there's some are a little more interesting than others.
So that's crazy, bro. I'm like I'm blanking on like crazy funny situations, but there's a few. But this one was just kind of a bit jarring and like exciting. Mm-hmm. I was out in Queens. Me and a few friends went to go scout this one spot. We were watching Daredevil, and we saw this cool like cement place, and we found out where it was, and it was at this park in Queens. So we drove out there. It took us an hour. And by the time we got there, the sun went down, so we were kind of tight. We get there, there's no one there. It's all open. There's like signs that say, do not enter, but they're like broken and shit. Mm-hmm. And pretty much it's like a stone. It's like a army. It's like a military base, like an aircraft base built into the side of this hill. And the Queens Bridge is right across the water. This is actually a photo. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's kind of dark. But we get to this huge tunnel. If you can imagine like a 40-foot tall tunnel, but it's just dark outside. So it's just blackness. And we see a red, like a light, like a ring light in the top right-hand corner of this tunnel. And we're like, we're whispering. Mm-hmm. Hey man, is that a camera? Is it a sensor? Like, is the army gonna run down us? Because it's the army bases. Yeah. And we take one step. We're like, fuck it. We're just gonna go. Take one step into the tunnel.
What is that?
Hundreds of lights for like a mile. Like a whole tunnel for like a mile. And we're just like, This is some Batman shit.
Yeah.
So we go into this tunnel and we're walking for like 10 minutes or so. And we're like, yo, should we turn around? We don't know what's on the end of this tunnel. We don't know what we're about to encounter. Maybe like we step out there and like we get arrested for trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the other side and, you know, it's just more bass. It's just more bass. And it was really cool. I'm not going to say the name of the bass because I don't want it to be known that I was there walking around at night. But
I want to go check that out.
Yeah, I'll tell you the location.
Yeah, you know how fire that shot would be if
Dude,
I just to step in and it's.
But yeah, there's a lot of craziness that happens. BTS.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think right now. I feel like I have so many more stories and I'm just like blanking. Like there's no way in all the years I've been in the industry that's the pig story is the only thing I could think of.
That was a wild boy though.
No, we definitely have
Oh, and the artist got shot on the set. That's the craziest part.
Oh, the plot thickens.
The plot thickens.
They
texted me after that the artist got shot in the leg.
By someone else or by himself?
No, like I guess people knew where he was at.
This is all you artists out there, stop doing the gang shit. I don't want to shoot you. I don't want to shoot the video where you guys got hits on your fucking heads. Like
Literally.
I don't want to do that. So let's stop that in 2021, please. Please, like we
keep
our
the
directors
safe. Out of your gang.
Yeah, man. What the
activities.
fuck? That's the third shooting on set I've heard like in the last 6 months, and I'm sure there's way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's very tricky. It's like and this is why like I'm diving into like the location side of it more. Because, you know, I feel as though when people have cameras, you know, you could be respectful to wherever you're at or, you know, the place you decide to be in. But, you know, I think that people just need to become more like creative and dynamic when it comes to choosing like what and where they, you know, set up shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, the whole Pop Smoke situation was crazy. RIP to Pop Smoke. But, you know, sometimes there has to be like a confidentiality, like, when creating productions or, you know, you can't have everybody pull up to party like we're filming, we're working. That's
the biggest thing is a lot of people don't keep a tight set.
Yeah.
When you don't have a tight set, you're going to have situations like that. And it's like, it also goes back to the budget conversation we're having. Like, if you're on one of these like massively large budgeted shoots, you're not going to have that issue because there's going to be security there. There's going to be a cop stationed off to the side. Like,
yeah, there might be a phone bag.
Yeah, like I was just in Atlanta like a couple months ago with Rock Davis, another large director.
Shout out to Rock.
Yeah, shout out to Rock.
Shout out to Rock.
Did a lot for the film industry in Jersey, just in general. But I was with him down in Atlanta. We were shooting YBN in 21, and we were literally in like I've never been to Atlanta, so I don't know how it's run or like where we are. But a couple people DM me and like, yo, you're in like the shitter. Like people get robbed broad daylight where you guys are at. But we had no issues. Like we had cops that were stationed at the corner. Like everything was secured. It was a well run and tight knit set. When you have issues, when you have sets like that, it's gonna be cleanly random. Like even if you have 21 Savage who's like been through the shit in YBN and like a whole bunch of fucking wild motherfuckers in Atlanta trying to do some dumb shit, like you won't have issues as long as it's taken care of and your producers handling everything.
And I was gonna say a lot of times too, I know a lot of the bigger producers, they have like their license to carry. I know that's like a big thing a lot of producers carry.
I don't even know.
You gotta protect your set. Like
you just want to bow. Really gonna have a fucking 12 gauge.
Imagine me coming out with
like, yo.
They're gonna be like, who is this girl? And what is she doing?
Word,
I would be dead if you pull up on set with a gun. I'm running.
Give me a couple years. Nah,
put some hot sauce in it.
Just spray people with hot sauce.
But yeah, so do we have any closing remarks?
That's a good one. I was gonna say it's definitely a good time to wrap up right now. I feel like
closing remarks. What did we talk about? Communication. Communication is key on set, no matter who you are, what your position is. Communicate to the people you are working with.
OD.
That's definitely a good point.
I don't really have any other closing remarks, but get your budget ups and hit me, son. That's actually, better yet, I'm just coming at all the music video commissioners out there. I'm going to be in your DMs or come in mine after this. Or Breeze or Demoie. Just put some budgets in our pockets. We'll make it happen.
For me, I would just say, full clip. That's my closing remarks. Cool. Stay full. You get me? You heard it.
We need that
here
shirt
first.
We need like a good
Stay
closing
full.
line.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Well, that's
Yeah.
the first one. I hope you guys like it. If not, fuck off.
Yeah. If not, you know what I mean, we gonna be back, you know, for the next one. So tune in. Follow us on the social medias at Full Clip.
Full Clip. Is it Full Clip Pod or Full Clip Podcast?
Full Clip Pod. Let's find
I
out.
feel like it's Full Clip
The
Podcast.
Instagram?
Yeah.
None of us know it. We're like,
No, I created it too. I think it's Full Clip Podcast.
Full Clip. Follow us on Instagram at Full Clip Podcast. You know,
there'll be a little graphic right here
on the YouTube. Subscribe,
Always
rate us,
wanted to do that, dude.
comment.
Right